Hi everybody, I'm Brett Curtis, sitting here with my friend Conrad Kusel. I've been in Youth with a Mission now 40 years, most of that with Ywam ships.
Hi everyone, my name is Conrad Kusel. I'm originally from South Africa, but have been in full-time ministry with Ywam for 23 years, but joined Ywam ships full-time in 2019.
Over recent years, like so many of, well, all of us, we've had COVID issues stopping us travel and getting places doing what we normally do, but we're delighted now that Papua New Guinea is opened up for us to get our volunteers back on board the ship again, and we're ready to go.
So as part of our trip to Papua New Guinea about a month ago, Brett and I and a few others got to visit the Liberty and do a site visit and spend some time on board with the crew and the various volunteers on board, and just the sense of excitement on board for the fact that things have opened back up. There's momentum, there's a sense of excitement and hope, a palpable focus from everybody on board that are eager to deploy and to serve the isolated people groups again through medical services. But now there's a whole bunch of other tools at our disposal that we want to talk about.
You know, in these isolated islands that we go to, we always see the devastating effect of people being cut off from the rest of the world. Well, it was really accentuated over the last few years with nobody coming in to connect with them. So it felt like it was pent up energy, no matter what category of conversation. Whether it was talking to the crew on board the ship or the government or the folks that were involved in setting up the Ywam base in Madang, everyone's ready to get rolling forward, and so are we here in Kona, Hawaii.
Right. And one of the interesting that happened in the COVID season when we were literally stuck, we couldn't travel. A lot of people left our ministry to be with family during that season, and we were just praying, saying, Lord, what does this mean for us? And just organically, different organizations began to reach out to us, asking to collaborate. And it was just a miraculous and incredible experience for us to see that we are not alone in what we do, and that there are other partners who have the same heart, who want to reach people and help those that are isolated, and to bring the good news to them.
Yeah. You know, in the Bible it talks about if one can put 1,000 to flight, put your calculator in, then two can put 10,000 to flight. And that kind of doesn't work on my calculator, but in heaven, he brings the increase when we collaborate in unity with others. And so we're really expecting a lot. We've had Operation Christmas Child from Samaritan's Purse come toward us and said, hey, could we embed our Christmas shoe boxes, because we have a goal too to get every child on every island in the Pacific ministered to with our mission, and we can't get there. Let's collaborate together, and can we get on your ship and do that? And we said yes, so we signed a MOU, and they've already started sending us these amazing gift boxes to give to the kids.
One of the other incredible partnerships that have developed is with something called FADS. I'd never heard of them before. First time I heard of it was when Brett mentioned it to me. And these are called fishing aggregation devices. And what they do, it's a pretty simple technology, but they are able to anchor a floating platform that sits about 20 feet below the ocean's surface and anchored within a mile of the shore. And what it does is it attracts the large fish into shore. Because of overfishing by commercial fisheries and different nations that fish in international waters, the locals often lose their source of protein. And these fishing aggregation devices, literally, by them putting them close to shore, it attracts sea growth on these floating platforms, which then little fish come and eat, and then bigger fish come and eat the little fish, and eventually the big tuna come in close to shore, which makes it possible for the locals to paddle out with their canoe and bring in these vital sources of protein, which they've been deprived of. And that has led to a ton of health issues amongst the locals. But this now brings that source of protein in and they want to work with us. They want to give us these devices, and we will be deploying, I forget how many it is, but
About every 10 miles around an island, yeah.
right, but
Yeah.
there's about 50 of these that we hope to be deploying over the next few years, which I think is really exciting.
One of the things we could do during COVID was research. Everyone has the capacity at home with the internet. I mean, you know, we all kind of connected by Zoom, and now we're really sick of it. But what we did is we looked into these questions about how many islands are there in the Pacific that have no airport, roads or bridges connecting them to the outside world. And we found 936. As we begin to drill down into those ones, we found the far majority, 748 of them, have no internet, no cell phone. Could you imagine the isolation of these ones? And then as we looked at the issue of languages, that was interesting too. We discovered there's 1,400 languages on Earth that have no alphabet. And so many of these dear ones, they don't read. And so as we thought about the translation of the Bible, which is an amazing bedrock for life for all these wonderful families, but they have no access to it in their mother tongue, their heart tongue, their mother tongue. They don't have the access to these types of materials. And so we decided that we would research along the coastline of the most Bibleless province in the world. Now, if you look at the great scope of things, Nigeria and Papua New Guinea, they both are like the two that have the most challenges when it comes to translating the Word of God into their mother tongues. And in Papua New Guinea, with the 22 provinces, the province that has the worst case is Madang, and so that's become a focus for us.
Another amazing thing that happened during the kind of the downtime of COVID is we weren't twiddling our thumbs. We were able to accomplish some very important projects on board the ship. Now, what some people don't think of is that a ship such as ours, the Ywam Liberty, which is has 60 beds on it and a large cargo hold, that ship has to make its own power, it has to make its own water, and it has to treat its own sewage, amongst other things. And so those are very complex and expensive systems. And through the generosity of multiple donors, as well as the generosity of technicians that volunteered their time, we have been able to install a brand new water maker that will make 5,000 gallons a day of fresh water for our ship. That's a huge improvement over the past. I think we were doing maybe around 800 gallons a day with the systems we had, and they were failing. So we have a brand new system installed and ready to go. We also have a brand new sewage treatment plant that will make sure that we comply very well with all of the environmental regulations, that we don't pollute the oceans. We want to be good stewards of things that have been given to us. And those were two major systems that have been installed during this COVID season when we weren't able to sail.
And aren't we also mid-play and putting together an amazing air conditioning system in the aft part that replaced an older one?
Absolutely, yeah. Through an incredibly generous individual and a partner and a friend, we are being donated a brand new air conditioning system in the passenger area of our ship, which will greatly contribute to a good and healthy working environment for everybody on board.
So once we started to get all of our doors open and people and engineers and volunteers could come and go again, now we're about ready to get into dry dock, and we'll head up to Madang, the port up there. And you know, I've been doing this 40 years. I've never had a dock that we could call our own. And through a wonderful set of events through the Lutheran Church, we talked to the Bishop Jack Urami, who lives in Leh, and they have a dock and a warehouse right on the main road in Madang. and our friend down there, Cliff and Amherst Davis, a couple that lead our Ywam work down there in Madang, made the introduction. Come to hear that we are wanting to get involved in Madang long term. We have had the wonderful privilege of signing up this dock and warehouse for 50 years. And so now we're looking to develop it, and officially announcing even today online that we are now calling Madang, Papua New Guinea, home port for our Ywam Liberty ship.
I think the really exciting thing for us, because we've been in this space for a while of going out and providing medical services to isolated people groups, working with volunteers, medical professionals that go out and volunteer their time and really offer life-changing procedures to people that normally have no access. And that's what we've been doing for a while. And every time we do that, we always come alongside with a community engagement initiative where we have our medical volunteers running the clinics, and then we have our other volunteers that engage the community with sharing the gospel. They also do primary healthcare education, all very, very, very valuable things. But now there's a great enhancement to what we'll be able to offer due to these partnerships that have come our way during this COVID season. Brett already mentioned the Operation Christmas Child shoeboxes, which is much more than just a few gifts inside of the box. They are discipleship materials that will allow the children that receive these gifts to actually grow in their personal faith and will grow in their life skills as they work through these materials. And I mentioned already the fishing aggregation devices, and of course the oral Bible translation, which is also partnered with the End Bible Poverty Now initiative. And so these various tools at our disposal that have now been added to the medical side really expand our reach and expand the impact that we'll be able to have as we go to these very isolated peoples.
And I want to give a shout out too to the University of the Nations, Kona, Hawaii, and their linguistics college. Some incredibly smart people who have great training in the whole area of linguistics, jumping in with both of their feet. They've already run an oral Bible translation school in Madang. In fact, Cliff and Amherst, straight away when they landed in August last year, that was the first thing they did. And so that's happening again in a few weeks. There's a lot of people that are starting to pull towards this. Conversations with SIL, Wycliffe, and Bible Translators Association, and Jesus Film, and all of these amazing people, global partners, on the phone with them again this morning. They're all pulling in toward us to make this happen. The acceleration of getting this job done with these 33 languages is now going to be real possible because we're not trying to do it on our own, or someone else is not trying to do it while we just do medical. We're collaborating together to see this job done, and it's amazing. Other things that are starting to come toward us is we had PNG Air come and say, look, we'll give you free cargo around the country, whatever you need. We had local politicians coming toward us saying, what doors do you need opened up? Allen Motors is a blessing to us, and they're considering vehicles and Zodiacs and such. There was an individual, actually a company in Port Moresby. They're providing a whole lot of paint for us for the ship as it's in dry dock. There seems to be favor layered coming toward us that we had nothing to do. I was trying to explain it to a few folks the other day. I said, it's like stepping onto an escalator. You're moving, but you have nothing to do with that momentum. It's coming toward us in such a beautiful picture right now.
I think the thing that struck me also, as Brett was talking, we had these meetings lined up. We went for it was a 2-week trip, well, effectively 12 days on the ground, and we had 31 meetings scheduled over those 12 days, mostly in Port Moresby and Madang. But what struck me as we began to meet these different role players, like Brett mentioned, PNG Air and Allen Motors and different politicians, we also got connected with PNG ports. Now they administer all of the country's main ports. They're the administrative stewards of that. And we thought we were going to discuss business with them. Come to find out that the CEO of P&G Ports, first thing he blurts out is, "I'm a missionary kid. I was born in the Bahamas, raised in the Caribbean." He goes, "I love what you're doing. I love your focus on taking the good news out into the nations." So I mean, just blown away at these kinds of things, right? And then our new patron, Mr. Justin Ilakini, he is the CEO of P&G Fisheries. He loved what we did so much that he wanted to be connected with us. In fact, he's agreed to be our patron. And he, again, in his first conversation with Brett, he blurts out, he said, "I really want to be doing what you guys are doing." I mean, and that was really humbling. Here's this man of influence and power. He works directly under the National Minister of Fisheries, and he so believes in what we do, and he's become our patron in Papua New Guinea. He's going to open doors for us that we would not normally be able to walk through.
So now what? We have all kinds of opportunities for you to consider. Come and get engaged with us, because this momentum's very unique. Come and get engaged with us building out the Oral Bible Translation Center in this warehouse. And come engaged with the medical folks, with the evangelism teams, being a translator. If you're a Papua New Guinean listening to this, come work with us. We love that. A big percentage, 30+% of our crew are normally from the location that we're ministering to. And that's going to be a wonderful thing to see. Papua New Guineans helping their own folks. And what we do on the ship is we provide a platform and an access for them to reach out to their own islands and along the coastline that have no roads anywhere near them. And so when you go to a marginalized location and you show up with people from so many different nations around the world, it speaks so much to them. So thank you to all of our donors and our supporters, those who have prayed for us and kept us going and said, "Hey, don't give up. COVID's going to be done soon. You can make this." And we didn't lose any of our people. They didn't quit. They didn't run home. They actually stayed and returned after they had a short period of time with their families, just wanting to press in and push forward. And so we're so grateful. We have this thing, we say, okay, listen to the Lord, obey what He's telling you, and don't quit. And when those three things kind of work like that, you see incredible things, because you love people and you love the God that loves everyone. So thanks again, everyone, for your support. We love what we're doing, and we so appreciate and love you.